All right, ready to dig in. Today, we're tackling civil engineering technician interviews. No theory, we're going straight to the source. RoleCatcher's career and interview guides.
Think of it like peeking into the hiring manager's playbook.
Exactly. Whether you're just starting out or aiming for a promotion, this deep dive is all about giving you the tools and the confidence to nail that interview. So let's start with the role itself. What does a civil engineering technician actually do?
It's more dynamic than people might think. You're part of those huge infrastructure projects, roads, bridges, water systems, big picture stuff. But you're also making sure they're built right, diving into materials, project management, even policy recommendations.
So brains and brawn.
You got it. You need the technical knowledge, but also the ability to think critically and handle real-world challenges. And speaking of technical stuff, the guide highlights software like AutoCAD and GIS. They're essential.
Good to know.
Ah,
Okay, let's get into the interview questions. Picture this. You're face-to-face with the hiring manager, and they ask, what's your experience with surveying equipment? I bet that's a tough one for some people.
it's a classic, meant to gauge your hands-on experience. But don't worry if you haven't climbed Mount Everest with a theodolite.
Right, no need to exaggerate.
Exactly. Honesty is key. Focus on what you do know.
Yeah.
Have you used a level? Even experience from school counts. Mention your familiarity, even if it's basic, and show you're eager to learn.
Show them you're ready to get your hands dirty.
That's it. And here's where RoleCatcher's AI can help. Imagine you upload your resume, their AI compares it to the job description and points out any gaps in your experience. Then they give you advice on how to address those gaps during your interview.
Pretty cool, right?
Like having a personal interview coach. Okay, next question. Can you describe a time you worked under a tight deadline? We've all been there. What's the key to acing this one? It's about showing you can solve problems and stay calm under pressure. Have a specific example ready, a project where you juggled multiple tasks or faced unexpected obstacles. It's okay if things didn't go perfectly. Highlight what you learned.
So even a near disaster can be a win if you spin it right.
Exactly. It shows you're adaptable and learn from mistakes, which is valuable in any job.
For sure. Okay, what if they throw a curveball? How do you ensure the safety of yourself and others in the field? That's a big one.
Absolutely. Safety is crucial in this field, and they want to see you get it. This is your chance to shine. Go beyond the obvious, wearing your PPE, following guidelines. Think about specific protocols or regulations you'd use on site.
It's about being proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. Show them you're already thinking like a seasoned professional who prioritizes the team's safety.
That's what makes you stand out.
Absolutely. Think we have time for one more question in this section?
Right, let's hear it.
Okay. This one might seem simple, but often trips people up. Why did you choose to pursue a career as a civil engineering technician?
Seems straightforward, but there's more to it.
Definitely. They want to see your passion, your drive. This is your elevator pitch, your chance to say why you love this field. Maybe it's the problem solving, the chance to make a real impact, even a childhood fascination with bridges. Whatever it is, let your enthusiasm show.
Show them your spark.
Exactly. Authenticity is key in an interview.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We're picking up right where we left off, dissecting those interview questions that can make or break your chances of landing that civil engineering technician role.
And remember, it's not just about knowing the answers. It's about showing you can think on your feet, solve problems, and communicate clearly.
Exactly. So let's say the interviewer throws this one at you. Imagine you're on a project and you find a difference between the design plans and what you see on site. What do? That's a real-world challenge.
This is where those problem-solving skills come in. They want to see you stay calm, assess the situation, and take action.
So it's not enough to just say, I'll tell someone.
Nope, not at all. Walk them through your process. What's the first thing you do? Who needs to know? How would you document the problem? Would you suggest a solution?
It's about being proactive and showing initiative.
Exactly. And this is another area where RoleCatcher's AI can really help. Their platform gives you specific feedback on your answers, points out areas to improve, and suggests how to structure your response for maximum impact.
Like having a personal editor for your answers. Okay, next up. Have you ever had to work with technical drawings or specs that were unclear or incomplete? How did you handle it? We've all been there.
It comes with the territory in this field. The key is to show you can think critically, be resourceful, and ask for clarification when you need it.
So it's okay to ask questions.
Absolutely. Better to clarify than make assumptions that could lead to mistakes. Share an example from your experience. Maybe you had to talk to colleagues, look at industry codes, or even contact the person who made the drawings.
It's about finding solutions, not dwelling on the problem. Now let's talk about a skill that's important in any job.
Yeah.
Communication.
Communication is essential in civil engineering, where you're always working with a mix of engineers, architects, contractors, and clients.
For sure. So let's say the interviewer asks, describe a time you had to explain a technical concept to someone without a technical background. How did you make sure they understood?
This is where you show off your ability to simplify complex information.
And probably your patience, too.
Definitely. Think of a time you had to break down a technical concept, maybe explaining a design plan to a client or helping a colleague who is new to a software. How did you adjust your communication style to their level? Did you use analogies or visuals?
It's about meeting people where they are and finding creative ways to explain things. Okay, here's one that can be a bit tricky. Tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult coworker or client.
It's always a tough one, right? You don't want to badmouth anyone, but you also want to show you can handle challenging people.
So how do you walk that line?
Choose an example where you successfully resolved a conflict or addressed a difficult situation. Focus on the positive. What did you do to understand their point of view? How did you communicate effectively? What was the result? And even if it wasn't fully resolved, you can still talk about what you learned.
It's about turning a negative into a positive learning experience. Now let's tackle one that could be a little uncomfortable. What are your salary expectations? How do you handle that gracefully?
It's definitely awkward, but it's a standard question. The key is to be prepared. Research typical salaries for civil engineering technicians with your experience in your area. Websites like Glassdoor or Salary.com can be really helpful.
So don't undervalue yourself or shoot for the moon.
Exactly. Be realistic, but know your worth. And it's perfectly fine to give a range instead of a specific number.
Good to know. Okay, last question in this mock interview. Do you have any questions for me? This is your turn to ask, right?
Absolutely. Don't underestimate this part. It's a chance to get valuable information, show your interest, and leave a positive impression.
So hold off on asking about vacation time for now.
Right. Come prepared with thoughtful questions that show you've done your homework and are genuinely curious about the company, the team, the projects, things like that.
Show them you're not just looking for any job, but the right job. This deep dive has been incredibly helpful. We've covered some tough questions, but with your insights, I'm feeling more confident about acing that interview. How about you all listening?
I agree. And remember, preparation is key. The more you practice, the smoother and more confident you'll be in the actual interview.
Absolutely. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've tackled those tough interview questions, and now it's all about those finishing touches, that extra polish to help you really shine in that civil engineering technician interview.
We've talked about what to say and how to say it. Now it's about presenting your best self, making that great first impression.
Because acing an interview is about more than just knowing the answers, right?
Absolutely. It's the whole package. You've got the skills and experience. Now you need to present yourself well, and that starts with how you dress.
Okay, so let's talk wardrobe. What's the dress code for a civil engineering interview? Are we ditching the hard hat and tool belt for this one?
A hard hat might be a bit much. You want to look professional, so in this field, business casual is always a good bet.
So nice slacks or a skirt, button-down shirt or blouse, maybe a blazer to add a touch of professionalism.
Exactly. And don't forget accessories. A nice watch or some subtle jewelry can add personality while still looking professional.
But being comfortable is important too, right? You don't want to be fidgeting with your clothes during the interview.
For sure. Make sure your shoes are comfortable for standing or walking, and avoid anything too tight or too loose. You want to feel confident and relaxed so you can focus on showing what you know.
Okay, so we've got the wardrobe down. What about bringing materials? Obviously, we'll have our resume, maybe a portfolio of projects if we have one. Anything else to bring?
Definitely bring a notepad and pen to take notes. It shows you're engaged and paying attention. Plus, it's a good way to jot down key points or questions you have.
Like a cheat sheet for your brain.
Exactly. And speaking of preparation, have you thought about doing a mock interview beforehand?
It's like a test run before the big day.
Right. Practicing your answers out loud can really help. You can even record yourself to see if you need to work on your delivery or body language.
And for those who want to take it to the next level, there's RoleCatcher's AI-powered video practice.
It's a fantastic tool. Now let's think about what happens after the interview, because it's not over once you shake hands and head out the door.
Definitely not. Following up is important, but it can be a little tricky. How soon is too soon to reach out? And what's the best way to do it?
A good rule of thumb is to send a thank you note within 24 hours. Email is totally fine these days.
But it should be more than just a generic thanks for your time, right?
Absolutely. Take a minute to personalize it. Mention something specific from the interview that resonated with you. It shows you were listening and you're genuinely interested.
That makes sense. What if you haven't heard back after a week or so? Can you follow up?
For sure. It's completely fine to send a short, polite email to reiterate your interest and ask about the timeline for their decision.
So don't be afraid to express your enthusiasm.
Exactly. Enthusiasm and persistence go a long way.
This has been an amazing deep dive into acing that civil engineering technician interview. Any last words of advice before we wrap up?
Remember, you've got this. You've prepared, you've honed your skills, and you're passionate about this field. Let that passion shine through in your interview. Be confident, be yourself, and most importantly, be prepared.
And don't forget to check out the amazing resources that RoleCatcher has to offer. They've got everything from detailed career and interview guides to those awesome AI-powered tools. They've got everything you need to put your best foot forward.
Now go out there and ace that interview. We're all rooting for you.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed this journey into the world of civil engineering technician interviews. Remember, knowledge is power, and with the right tools and the right preparation, you can achieve anything you set your mind to. We'll see you on the next episode of The Deep Dive.